Well, I met a woman that I had known for a long time but hadn't seen in ages, and she had changed a lot over the years, and she had sort of, in a way, become, more placid, and she had been a very wild person, and basically had just become a mom, and with kids, and seems to have changed in a deep way. And I started thinking, like, how do you do that? How do you change that way? And then I realized that I knew a lot of people who had, in some way, deeply changed through their lives, that they had almost, had layers of self. And I started thinking about what the self is, and how consistent is it? And is it one thing, or are we, constantly shifting kind of prisms in a way that shine different color light through ourselves depending on who we're in contact with, and are we reactive beings really? And so it's like, I wanted to ask these kind of abstract questions, but find a way of talking about it that was very kind of basic and human, a story that everybody could relate to in a way. Well, I knew that there were two streams, the stream of the past and the stream of the present. I knew that they were really distinct. It was a question of how to make them really different while at the same time making you understand that and believe that this is still the same person. And at first I tried something that I had seen quite a lot before, which is going more like a chapter in one, a chapter in another, a chapter in one, a chapter in another. Maybe one of them is in italics, So, and that's something that it's kind of more a comfortable form. But I found that, in a way, I felt like I was actually cutting into the flesh of the story every time I did that. It almost needed to build. It needed to build for a long time so that you feel like you know Pippa and kind of judge her for quite a number of pages, and then suddenly the bottom is just dropped out, and then you're falling, and for a while you're not like, where am I, who is this? It's suddenly first person, and you're in her younger self, and you're inside her head, which is not quite the head that you would have expected it to be, and you begin to sort of re-see her and re-experience, the world through her eyes, and then come back to her changed, like seeing her in a different way, so that having sort of judged her and maybe even somewhat dismissed her, I think you see her, I was hoping that you would see her in a different way. I definitely start with character. I mean, character is the seed for me, pretty much. I have an idea, yes, but an idea with no characters has no body. It's like a ghost floating around, So the characters, I try to make every character, pretty detailed in my own mind, even if they have a short time to be there. And I don't know, it's like you layer it on. You find, you start with a little nub, like maybe it's based on somebody that you met in a loose way. Because, I mean, Pippa certainly isn't the woman that she sort of gave me the idea. But then I started thinking about other people and that I had known, and then inventing Pippa from the inside of myself, like in a way maybe even in opposition to myself, but gave her some of my characteristics and gave, and that would be true of, Herb as well. Each character has things that are borrowed from people I've known, things from myself, and then invented things. And it's very hard to unravel it once you've done it. It's very hard to say, oh yeah, it was 2 parts this to 1 part that to, like, a dash of this. It's very hard to kind of do that afterward, I find. It's almost like you forget the recipe. I think Pippa has a kind of, I think it's really Pippa, that a lot of people have sort of fallen in love with her, women in particular, and I suppose men too. She's both who you are and also somebody that you'd like to talk to or ask advice of. There's something of the essence of being, in a way she has a kind of goodness about her, but she's also done some very bad things, And I think it's a kind of book that I hope that when you read it and you finish it, there's a kind of relief or release that you feel. That a weight is taken off you in some way, and that this woman, that it's really a woman's entire life that you're experiencing, and that you understand the weight that's been on top of her, and gradually the weight is sort of removed, you know, and I think that it's a kind of also a permission for a woman of a certain moment in her life to really begin her life again, that she gets to choose her life again, even though it's kind of, you know, we could think it's sort of time to pack it in and sort of stay who you are and keep your life the way it is and keep safe. She does something very unsafe, and I think that's something liberating about that.